Imelda strengthening and pulling away from the United States, but new areas to watch in the tropics as we enter the final month of hurricane season. Welcome in, folks. Happy Monday. Hopefully we're having a wonderful start to the week out there, and starting the week a lot better, I'd say, than probably we thought we might be starting it a couple days ago, as luckily Imelda has had that swift shift out to sea on a lot of the model guidance, and we always knew it was going to be one or the other. It's always a complex upper level pattern, as we've been talking about on the channel, but luckily we figured it out here, and it's good news for the United States as Imelda and Umberto both look to pull away. However, we've got a whole month of hurricane season left, and I do see some signs of trouble that maybe some other storms could develop potentially close to home. So we'll be talking about that as well in today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Gerald. I'm a meteorologist at WCCB Charlotte. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell for the latest notifications so you're up to date and always weather-wise about what's on the way, because it can change quick in the model data. So being the first to find out is very helpful for you folks. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into things and just start covering what we've got out here. You can see the latest run here of our morning model from the American model showing Imelda and Umberto both pulling away. You can see that right here at the start of the loop. You can see both of those get shot out into the Atlantic. Then watch the Gulf and the main development region, though. Some other little areas of some L's trying to spin up here towards the end of the loop. So that's going to be something to watch very carefully. And we are getting to that time of the year that the Gulf and the Caribbean, generally speaking, try to get a little bit more active. So something that is going to be very important for us to watch here over the coming days. Let's go ahead and take a look at satellite imagery this morning, and I'll tell you folks, it's a rare sight. It's not a loop that you see very often in the Atlantic, and we've gotten so lucky this season so far. Again, we've got a month to go, so we're not done yet, but to have two storms like this right off the coast of the United States and neither one going to impact us directly is just wonderful news. Now, folks in Bermuda, got to keep a very close eye on these still, but just terrific news for the United States. With that said, though, we are still going to get at least some impacts out of Imelda, mainly just in the form of rain. You can see this big shield of water vapor getting slingshot or slungshot. I don't know what the correct tense there to use, but either way, it's getting brought into the southeast, specifically South Carolina and North Carolina here on this Monday, all thanks to an upper level jet that is really helping to funnel that moisture well outside of the center of circulation. So that'll be kind of the big story. But Imelda looking a lot healthier this morning too, I will add. Finally starting to get a tropical storm look, and the reason that it's going out to sea is it took so long to get here. She really struggled to find that center of circulation for a couple days there over the weekend. She found it yesterday. And now, or at least became a tropical storm yesterday, I should say. And now we're really starting to get that look here with more of that shrimp head and shrimp tail look and deep convection near the center, allowing that latent heat release process to really lower those surface pressures. Umberto running into a little bit of shear this morning, then some drier air, but still a big, healthy chungus of a hurricane out here. And again, just a bit of a mesmerizing satellite loop here from a meteorological standpoint. As said, though, and as expected, both of these storms luckily pulling on out to sea. It's not often you get hurricane cones passing right over each other, but the latest forecast does call for Umberto to begin to weaken from here and Imelda to strengthen up to around a Category 1 storm. And you do note Bermuda in the cone of that one. Timing there would be by October 2nd, so the night of October 1st and the morning of October 2nd, so the middle of this week. But again, for us in the United States, no problems. You can see that rain, though, now funneling into the southeast here on our latest data. All right, let's go ahead and quickly analyze Imelda a little bit more in depth here, just show you why it's going to strengthen. It won't be very long, and then we can go ahead and start talking about this rain a little bit more in depth, impacts from that, and then break down other potential threats in the Atlantic. As I showed you on satellite loop, the storm looking significantly healthier today than it did yesterday. So Imelda finally getting somewhere here and getting more of that tropical storm look. And even as I mentioned, you can see all this cloud cover still getting brought up into the southeastern United States. Tell you this, though, if you live on the edge of this cloud cover, expect another stunning sunset tonight. We had a great one last night in Charlotte as these upper level clouds were getting near us. Now we're stuck in the thicker stratus level clouds. But again, if you're on the edge of those upper level cirrus, get the camera ready tonight. It'll be a wonderful sunset, I can promise you. So just keep looking at satellite throughout the day, and you can kind of take a look at that for yourself. In terms of wind shear, though, the storm is in a bit of a favorable pocket right now. That's why it's finally getting its act together here. It's in this little green area, and that has helped the storm to really intensify a little bit. Also, on top of that, There's not really a whole lot of dry air, at least on the right-hand side of the storm here, that being the eastern side. But you can see on the western side, some dry air trying to kind of sneak into the storm. That's why we've got a little bit of a dry slot here on the south side of this dry air trying to work on in. I mean, this is very dry air over the United States right now. So that's definitely something that's happening. I think another thing that's helping out the storm actually is a bit of a trough interaction. I know it's going to sound counterintuitive whenever I pull the shear map back up because it's about to move into this red, but what's actually happening is this is on a favorable side of a trough right now where we have upper level divergence. That's helping to spread out these upper level winds, and I'm willing to bet, hopefully I don't look like a fool here, but yeah, okay, exactly, perfect. Whenever I put divergence on the map here in the upper levels, off the chart numbers here over this storm, so that's helping to fan it out a little bit, and lower level convergence quite high and stacked right under that divergence. So that also helps to explain why the system is strengthening quite well here this morning. And then, as we've been talking about, these are very warm ocean temperatures out here, and that goes very deep, that warm water. So makes sense. The storm's going to take advantage of this a little bit longer, probably getting up to around a category 1 as it works off towards Bermuda. And then I would expect it to probably weaken a bit as it approaches the island, or at least maintain that intensity and not intensify much more past a category 1 as it starts to find some cooler water temperatures and some drier air as well out there in the Atlantic. So that's the latest on Imelda and what's going to happen with her and how she's gotten stronger over the past little bit. Let's go and take a look at some model data, time out that rainfall, and then look at some other threats that could potentially be looming. Future track from the high resolution rapid refresh, I think doing a generally all right job of showing what's on the way today. And you can see some of these rounds of tropical moisture getting in off the Atlantic and into the Carolinas, even up into Virginia and portions of Georgia and Florida today. It's not going to be a lot, though, folks. I mean, we were talking about potentially, or maybe we weren't talking about, but the models were talking about, I think is a better way to word it, potentially catastrophic flooding out of this event back during like Thursday, Friday. Now, I mean, again, with the system so far offshore, still getting some of that feed of moisture in off the Atlantic, but not enough to cause any problems. In fact, good news, because we do have a little bit of a drought in the Carolinas. I covered that last night on WCCB. If you tuned in, showed you that drought map. We are in a little bit of a drought for many of us out here, so this is actually good news. And approaching kind of fall season, wildfire season, so any rain we can get that isn't all at once is good. So the rain just on and off today for your Monday, and that kind of lingers on into your Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, we really start to dry out, just a couple leftover scattered showers and downpours. By the time we get to Tuesday night, we're done with Imelda, folks. It's all that she had to write, or all she had to write, I guess, right? But could also watch, again, just some very minor coastal flooding here along the southeast coastline today. Specifically, we'll say Savannah up to about Wilmington area. Not going to be a big deal. Pretty typical stuff that we get whenever these storms are semi-close. But, eventually by the time we get to tomorrow, the winds are going to be mainly offshore anyway at that point. So would not be overly worried thanks to the angle there of the winds. Now, you put all this together, and the rainfall map, again, not overly impressive. So this is our Schref plumes. So basically, this is a blend of a bunch of mesoscale models and some global models. Funnily enough, the highest rainfall totals out of this might actually be up into western North Carolina, and even then, not enough that it would be a problem. Upwards of an inch up here from Charlotte through the Triad into the foothills and mountains of North Carolina, as some of that moisture kind of hits the upslope flow of the terrain here, helps it get some rising motion and try to squeeze out as much as it can. Along the beaches, though, some of us could get a couple of inches, others maybe not so much, and then a little bit drier in between where the upslope flow doesn't quite do a whole lot for you, and you're still kind of far away from the center of circulation of Imelda. So not a whole lot there showing up on that model. I'll show you the NAM. The NAM a little bit more aggressive, shows some people trying to get maybe more 2 to 3 inches of rain, but honestly, we could probably handle that as well, especially since it'll be coming in waves and not all at once over the next 24 hours or so. All right, that's rainfall. That's Imelda. Again, great news. Not as big of a deal as it looked a couple days ago, so we'll take it. Let's go ahead and take a look now at some other potential trouble in the tropics that could be brewing for the last month of hurricane season. We'll start with the Gulf, and you'll notice not a drop of rain falling out here. Again, we've got that very dry air mass that I showed you earlier, but notice that we've got a little bit of a swirl here over the Gulf, kind of an interesting little meso low. So we've got a ton of spin out here, and it's over very warm waters, so that would be a problem normally, but thanks to this just massive dry air outbreak, we're getting saved currently in the Gulf. But I'll tell you, if there's anywhere that needs to be watched the most during the month of October, climatologically speaking, and given the data we have right now, it's going to be this area of the world, the Gulf and the Caribbean, where ocean temperatures are still very warm. So you know that climatologically speaking. So then you think, okay, well, let's take a look at some model data. Does anything suggest we might get something? Well, here's the AI models, or at least one of the AI models and its ensemble members, and yeah, showing a little bit of something around day 7 to 10 there towards the Yucatan. Have to keep very close tabs on that. Also showing kind of a final act in the main development region, one final wave. Probably wouldn't form for another 5 to 10 days anyway, and then where it goes after that. Obviously, plenty of time to watch, but we need to keep very close tabs on that area as well. They're showing up on the AI models. The GFS model also showing this area out towards the Yucatan, right around day 7 to 10. So do we have something there? Maybe, maybe not. It's still too soon to know, but it's definitely the next thing I think we should turn our attention to in the tropics here after Imelda and Umberto are out of here. And you can see it even on the GFS model itself, trying to get something going in that region and in the main development region as well. So let's loop this ahead into time. This is through this weekend, not a whole lot. And you'll notice another thing kind of pop up. Let me pause it right around, well, actually, let me back it up. Right around here. So another area to watch in the tropics that isn't really showing up on the ensembles, partially because it might not be all that tropical, so they might not be picking up on it. But we've had a couple model runs in a row that show something kind of trying to spin up here in the Gulf right around this weekend. The good news is this. We've got high pressure to the north, so that's going to try to keep it in place. Also, this high pressure is very dry, so we're gonna have a bit of a drier outbreak to the north side of this thing. We've already got dry air lingering in the Gulf, so whatever this is, I don't expect it to have a chance to get overly strong, but could we get a sneaky little tropical system to try to develop this weekend? Wouldn't surprise me in either way. With high pressure to the north, that would stall it out a little bit, so we would need to watch for flooding here, potentially wherever that may try to bring some rain. So that's another thing to watch in the tropics. All right, the GFS further out in time, though, notice right around here, this is, about 10 days from now, you can definitely see this Central American gyre type effect getting something going near the Yucatan. Like I said, it's far out there. Also, I will add the GFS as a model bias where it loves to spin these things up towards the Yucatan around day 10, and then it never actually happens in reality. But it's that time of the year that climatologically would be more likely to actually happen. So again, we'll keep close tabs on it. And then again, that day 10 timeframe showing that MDR region out here developing into some sort of hurricane, tropical storm, one kind of final act there into the tropical Atlantic. So that is kind of what we're seeing there. But again, just to summarize, we just need to be very careful of this going ahead, because we still have a lot of very warm water and very deep warm water here into the Caribbean and Gulf. So should something get spinning there, it could become problematic if it's got enough moisture and a lack of wind shear. You can see there in the ocean heat content, very high values, and then the sea surface temperature still running near 90 degrees Fahrenheit there just south of Cuba. So not done with hurricane season. We've got more time to go, but we've dodged a lot of bullets so far, and we'll hope we can keep doing it Matrix style here over the next month or so before we end out hurricane season, and then hopefully get a whole bunch of snowstorms from these very warm sea surface temperatures by the time we get on towards Christmas or so, right? That'd be great. All right, let me show you what's going on back home, and then I'll let you go and start the week off on the right foot. Well, the weather map over the next 7 days, honestly, pretty boring over the United States. I'll just quickly loop it ahead, and you can see, again, there's obviously Imelda causing some rain. Other than that, not really anything happening until about this week, and it looks like a mid-latitude cyclone tries to get going here over the northern plains and towards the Rockies, but other than that, folks, that's really all we've got so far here into the tropical or not the tropical Atlantic, but rather the United States. Sorry, I just had a side thought in my head that I think I forgot to do something I was supposed to do. So I completely forgot I was talking about the weather. But yeah, there's just not a lot going on. I will say, though, we've got big high pressure diving down into the east. Here it is by the middle of this week. This is going to bring some beautiful fall-like weather all the way down even into the Carolinas, highs in the low 70s. By the time we get to Thursday, some of us in the foothill regions struggling to find the 70s, more like upper 60s. So, we've got, again, a beautiful stretch here for many of us, and it's going to help to beat down these dew points as well. A little muggy out there now, but by the middle of the week, you could see everyone in the east just about outside of Florida and the coastal southeast, getting in on beautiful weather. And tropical moisture tries to make a return later on, but, we're starting to get that time of the year that we're running out of these really muggy days, which obviously is good news. Temperature-wise, we've got that cooler air coming into the east. Elsewhere, though, a bit of a heat wave, if you will, up into the plains, and then maybe some shots of cold air. Try to make an outbreak here into the east by the middle of the month, at least on the European. It's just one model run, so I would probably have to look at the ensembles really to give you a better idea. Things change past 4 days out anyway, let alone 10 days, so got plenty of time. time, to track all that here over the coming days and weeks and years that I'll be here giving you the weather forecast. All right, folks, that's all I got for you. Again, lucky to have a shorter Monday video. It didn't look like it would be a couple days ago, but we'll take it. Still watching the tropics, though. We've got some rain today. We've got other areas that still need to be monitored before we're done with hurricane season. And I'm excited to be breaking down winter storms with y'all. Again, that's my bread and butter on the channel and my favorite thing to do. All right, y'all have a great one. Stay safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.